Ooh, good question. There's been a lot of changes to Amazon advertising over the past year.
This is a gold mine for supplement brand owners, I'm sure about that, because they have been always looking for repeat purchases. And we used Google Ads, then we used Landing Cube to distribute some coupons
Mhm.
as first option, and then we put the brand referral bonus URL there.
Sure. Yeah, people starting their search for a product on Amazon have a much higher purchase intent than people starting the search on Google, right? So
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Now, today I have a very special guest with me. Today I have Mr. Joshua with me, co founder of eSpark, a full service Amazon marketing agency. Now, Mr. Joshua, thank you so much for joining with me in this session.
thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm happy to chat Amazon with you.
Before we start the recording and the interview, can you just
Yeah.
give me a brief about what eSpark does and what are the things you're doing in that?
Yeah, sure. So I started eSpark about 5 years ago. We were launching private label products on Amazon, probably similar to many of your viewers. About 2 years ago, I ended up selling off our brands and creating an agency. So now as an agency, we partner with brands to help them sell their products on Amazon. So we took all of our expertise and knowledge from doing it ourselves, and now we apply it to our clients. So we act as sort of a full service turnkey agency where you just hire us and we come on board and manage and grow your entire Amazon channel. That's pretty much us in a nutshell. We work with, brands that they would be called small business brands, according to Gartner. And we do a little bit of work for some of the larger Fortune 500s, more on a project basis, where we're like going in and just optimizing a bunch of listings because they lack the manpower to do so, or the expertise. So we're basically Amazon specialist on staff as needed for anybody who wants our help.
Okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So, do you have any questions for me before we start?
No, I'm happy to just fire away. I'll answer questions to the best of my ability.
Okay. So today we are going to talk about everything about Amazon ads, what all updates Amazon is rolling, and what changes, some tips and tricks Mr. Joshua is going to share with us. So we are ready to begin. I'll have a couple of questions related to Amazon advertising, some changes that I want to shoot to Mr. Joshua, and hope you all enjoy this episode. So, Mr. Joshua, Amazon, as we all know, I and you both are running agencies, and for agency owners, when Amazon comes with some updates, some changes, it's very hard for us to start from the beginning again and follow up with the changes. Now, you are helping a lot of brands from such a long time. So, what are your thoughts on how Amazon ads changed over the year of time?
Ooh, good question. There's been a lot of changes to Amazon advertising over the past year. Going back, I mean, everything from, I think, one of the biggest changes was probably sponsored brand videos. So for the longest time, the past 5 years, everything on the search engine results page has been static. So, just photos, right? So for the first time ever, Amazon allows us to have a moving image on that page. And now having a moving image or a video, as you call it, just drives clicks through the roof. I mean, everybody clicks on sponsored brand video ads. They're just very popular and very effective. So that rollout was huge. They were very cheap for a long time, which is usually what happens when a new placement or a new ad type rolls out. You want to be on top of it because they're usually pretty cheap and they can be really effective. And then once all the market figures it out and starts getting in there, prices go up. But sponsored brand video ads have remained consistently profitable for us despite rising cost per clicks. So sponsored brand video ads, that's been a huge positive and a huge change. I've also seen new placements for sponsored display. Amazon's allowing us to go off Amazon, target off Amazon now with sponsored display and some sponsored brands. I think that just rolled out a couple of weeks ago. So we're testing that out. I don't have any great results to tell you because it's so new, but I'm just telling you, hey, it's out there, go test it. That's probably the number one thing I would say with Amazon advertising is like, you don't know until you try, go test it. And we're seeing also, I would point out the sponsored display now allowing you to do purchase retargeting, which is really, really cool. Before you could never really retarget a customer because as you know, on Amazon, you're targeting products or search terms. You're not targeting necessarily people, but now Amazon allows you to do that with purchase retargeting. So you can try to sell complementary products based on your customer's past purchase history, which is very, very cool as well. So those are just a couple of high levels. I could go on forever, but I'll try to keep it tight. Just give you a couple.
Yeah, since you have brought down the topic of purchase remarketing, so this is a gold mine for supplement brand owners. I'm sure about that, because they have been always looking for repeat purchases. So yeah, that's a cool thing that's had been
Yeah.
rolled out. Plus the same thing, video ads, very cheap when it started, but now it is very costly. What we are trying to do is we're trying to push it to the second and third layer of the funnel, where we are putting warm and hot keywords, and for those keywords in which our key products are ranked organically in the first page, just trying to put some omnipresent strategy there to bring on all our listings and the sponsored ads, the organic listing, then video, because video shows takes a lot more like what I will say, the space in the search result, right? First the video, then the listing itself. That's a cool thing that Amazon has rolled out. And obviously, with all these changes that is happening around Amazon, a lot of sellers, brands have also moved on to external traffic since long time back. But now there are a lot of ways to track down the sales that you're getting from external traffic. Even I remember we were just helping one client to launch their product. We are starting with Google Ads, then a couple of 4 to 5 different methods, because that seller wants to drive traffic on 4 to 5 different methods to the same listing at the same time. And we used Google Ads, then we used Landing Cube to distribute some coupons as first option, and then we put the brand referral bonus URL there, having attached it with a 2-step URL. But obviously, with this external traffic, there's a lot of misconception about tracking and all. But what do you think, since you are managing a lot of brands inside eSpark, what do you think? What is your thought on driving external traffic when it comes to Amazon? Because the conversion rates are drastically different in terms of Amazon ads, right?
Sure. Yeah, people starting their search for a product on Amazon have a much higher purchase intent than people starting the search on Google, right? So, just verifying your point there. So when you're driving external traffic off Amazon, utilizing a Google ad, even with a coupon, you're not going to see you're unlikely at least to see the conversion rates that you see on Amazon from traffic directly from Amazon. So you definitely have to bake that in. Now, Amazon tries to help you out with that by utilizing the brand referral bonus, where they give you 10% back on the referrals that come in. And so that's a nice little, that helps sort of grease the wheels, right, for driving that external traffic. Amazon seems to, obviously, Amazon doesn't tell us what their algorithm does. We have to guess and test, but Amazon seems to reward external traffic quite strongly in terms of ranking and getting that flywheel going. So I would say for anybody doing a new product launch at Amazon, I would definitely drive external traffic, whether it's through something like Google Ads, or something that we like to do is utilizing existing email list. So if your customer or if a client or somebody has a D2C site, right, and they got an email of 50,000, is to start running, maybe coupons to your email list and then driving them to Amazon, because you're going to have a higher conversion rate. They've already purchased from you if they're on your email list, or at least they've shown interest in your product. So you have a little bit more of a warm audience than a Google ad audience, which is more cold. So it's just another way that you can utilize that external traffic. But in this case, utilizing an email list to bring warmer leads with a potentially higher conversion rate to Amazon. So a couple different ways to skin that cat. But like you said, driving that off Amazon traffic or driving that external traffic to Amazon is super important for driving initial growth and success.
Okay. And in terms of, since we're talking about launches, so when you launch product, there are 2 kinds of keywords. Some will be relevant high search volume keywords, and some will be not so much high search volume, but a little bit in the mid range. Now, when it comes to strategizing the campaigns, how do you structure the high search volume keywords and the low search volume keywords? Do you create separate campaigns for very high search volume keywords just to maintain that properly? Or what is the strategy behind it?
Good question. So when we first launch a product, we want to rank for as many keywords as possible. So you really let's say you have an unlimited budget, which nobody does, but let's just say you have an unlimited budget. For argument's sake, you're going to want to target as many keywords that are related and relevant to your product as possible, so you can train the Amazon algorithm to see to know that this is what your product is. And when we say train the algorithm, let's say you target 1,000 keywords. You're selling a garlic press. You target 1,000 keywords related to garlic press. You know, whether that's like, I don't know, utensil that mashes garlic, right? Like a really long tail, low volume keywords, or a high volume keyword like garlic press. We're going to pitch at them all, right? Because if somebody clicks on utensil that mashes garlic, your ad for that, and then purchases your product, you just trained the Amazon algorithm that that is what your product does. So in the early days, you know, it can get very expensive, but you're going to want to run a lot of advertising to sort of, you're going to want to run ads on a high variety of keywords to train Amazon what your product is. But once that's completed, you then want to trim those keywords down, because let's say you do launch a garlic press in today's market that's like super high volume, high competitive keyword. Unless you have like a really killer garlic press, you're unlikely to rank, or it's unlikely to be very profitable for you unless you have like some sort of unique value prop or a super high margin where you can pay loads for that ad. So what we'll end up doing is usually trimming down those keywords and then focusing more on the mid to bottom of funnel. You know, bottom of funnel being long tail, like or product that mashes garlic. Middle of funnel would be like blue garlic press, or garlic press with with green handle, or garlic press that comes with bag, things like that. Where your keyword bids are not going to be, or it's not going to be as expensive on a cost per click basis, and we can actually get profitable. So to sum, start wide, target a lot of different keywords relevant to your product, push aggressively, and then narrow down the keywords that are effective. And then from there, I'm getting excited here, but you can start doing things like, okay, let's target competitors. Now that people start to know our brands, let's target our brand. And you can stretch out different placements. I mean, there's just so many different ways you can go, but I say start broad, narrow it down as you go.
Okay. So again, for the ranking purpose, obviously, mobile optimization plays an important role because rankings may vary based on desktop and mobiles. So in terms of mobile optimization, obviously, I know while talking to you that you're using a lot of different strategies for especially for mobile optimization of your listings. Do you have one or two tips that you want to share to the audience about mobile optimization, how they can move forward with it?
Yeah, so in case people didn't know, Amazon recently released mobile sessions versus desktop browser sessions. So before, you had no idea where your customers were coming from. Now you actually know if they're shopping on mobile, which is the Amazon app, or on desktop. And what we've seen for our clients is like mobile takes up almost usually between 40 to 60% of the traffic share. So mobile is taking a huge portion of traffic share. So you have to look at your listings on mobile. And I would even argue optimize for mobile first. So one, totally agree. Mobile, super important. Go look at your mobile versus desktop traffic. Two, I would say that the most important thing you can do when optimizing for mobile is getting your images right. Because now, let's say you're looking at the app and you search for garlic press once again, and you scroll down and you see a listing, a picture of a garlic press. Now you can scroll left to right on that garlic press and look at all the images for that garlic press before clicking on the listing and going to the listing detail page. So now you, the seller, have the opportunity to basically make your sale on the search results page as people swipe left and right on your images. So you want your images to be, just high definition, crisp, large, and then just really compelling value props right there as soon as possible. So I'll give you an example. I was talking with a friend of mine, this isn't a client, but a friend of mine, who was doing some A/B testing for his main image. And the value prop of his particular product was the small size of the product. Okay. And so what he did was he used to just show a picture of the product, right? And so people couldn't really tell what the size was until they swiped to like the fifth image. So what he did was he changed his main image to a picture of somebody's hand, cut off here, holding the product. So he instantly gave his customers the scale of his product on the very first image. He said that his sales almost doubled on the second image, the one with the hand holding the product. So people could see his value prop, what set his product apart on the very first image. So this applies to desktop too, but it's particularly important on mobile. try to show your first or your most important value prop in that main image if you can. If not, show it in the second image, and then make sure you tell all the stories, all your value props as people cycle through those images. It's going to drive your clicks through the roof, your conversions through the roof, and your sales through the roof. You'll beat your customers, or you'll beat your competitors, 9 times out of 10. Because a lot of people just, I'm telling you, the image game is still not figured out. People are still not doing that great at it. So there's a great way that you can have a competitive edge just by doing that.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Those were really good points. Even what we tell our clients is, even for the A+ content, yes, if you're launching, if it is the first 1 or 2 months, try to put copy in the listing to just try to get index. Then after you start getting more impression and you see the utilization percentage is increasing, then you change the images and the copy to just big blocks, 970 to 600, that dimension, and try to put the infographics very big so that it is readable. That is what we are also trying to do. And another thing is, with these keywords, also all text that Amazon rolled out a couple of months back, we are testing a lot of different misspellings and different languages and getting good results. It is actually being indexed by Amazon. And what we have observed, now correct me if I'm wrong, what we have observed is our listing gets indexed for far more keywords than what we put in the listing or in the backend. Now, just correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure about this part, but what would be your order of putting keywords starting from top end to the back end, like from title, bullet points, then to the back end? How do you prefer? What should be the most relevant part, then move to the back end?
Yes, good question. So I think the way we tend to do it is sort of by volume and relevancy. So let's say you're selling garlic press. You're going to want to have garlic press in your title. What we're seeing is that, and what Amazon has said is that frequency is no longer valued highly. So if you have garlic press in your title, Amazon's not going to rank you any higher for garlic press if you also have it in your bullets, your backend search terms, your subject matter, all those other spots. You're probably going to want in a couple key spots because that's part of telling the story to the customer. But hey, what we do is, well, let me just take a quick step back. One, you're selling really to two people. One, you're selling to the algorithm, convincing the algorithm that, hey, this is what your product is. And then two, you're selling it to the customer, like convincing the customer that they need to buy your garlic press. I value the latter more than the former. In other words, like if you can put garlic press in your title and nowhere else in your listing, and that best makes people buy your product when they search garlic press, that's way more important than having the word garlic press in your listing for the algorithm. In other words, the algorithm assigns greater priority to a customer searching for a keyword, finding your product, and buying it, search, find, buy, than they would necessarily that, oh, it's in the backend keywords, we'll rank him number one for garlic press. Like, no, what your ranking comes from is customer purchase behavior. So if you can get customers to buy while you utilize certain or when they search for certain keywords, that's going to drive a much greater ranking than necessarily where you put it in your listing. So we always prioritize customer purchase behavior first. But to your point, like, customer purchase behavior is driven by what you tell the customer, right? So if it's a garlic press, you got to tell them it's a garlic press. If it's a garlic press with a blue handle, you have to tell them it's garlic press with a blue handle. So we tend to utilize keywords where we think that they will most contribute to the sale of the product versus saying, hey, we need to put it at the front or at the bottom, or I mean, I guess maybe be more specific, rather than saying we should put it at the bullets or the title or the description or the A+. That all matters for sure, but I would say focus on optimizing for customer purchase behavior first. Now, obviously customers start at the top of the page. So you're going to want to put your most important and your top keywords in the title and in the bullets, and then probably in your A+. And then obviously, you need to have your back end filled out because Amazon does truly, like you said, index for that. And you never know, hey, maybe somebody does search for one of those off-kilter keywords that I just wouldn't expect. Thankfully, it was in my back end. Amazon showed us and a customer purchased. So I would say, yeah, obviously high priority, high relevancy at the top and at the front of your bullet points, but optimize for customer purchase behavior and what you see them doing there.
Okay. Now let's talk about eSpark. What is eSpark? What does eSpark do, and how it helps Amazon sellers and brand to scale their revenue?
Yes, great question. That's a fun one. I'd love to answer that one. So basically, eSpark acts as a full-service turnkey agency for brands, for small to medium sized brands. So if you have, if you're looking at Amazon and you're saying, hey, I just don't have the time to manage this, or I lack the expertise on staff, I need somebody to take care of everything for me and grow that channel, we're the people that you want to work with. So internally, we have brand managers that manage a team of content creators, advertising experts, inventory planners, people that go and get your reimbursements for you, cases of compliance. We have experts in all those fields, and we work to basically make your channel a turnkey channel where you can say, okay, look, I was doing $1 million on Amazon last year. I hired Josh and his team at eSpark. We're doing $2 million this year. They got us 20K in reimbursements. I've never had to worry about the channel or think about the channel. They take care of it and grow it for us. And that's basically how we best work with people. So if anybody is out there is looking for help with their Amazon channel, saying, hey, I don't have the time for this or I don't have the expertise, just ping me in the DMs, LinkedIn, YouTube, anywhere you find me, and be happy to chat.
Yeah. Since we're talking about eSpark,
Yeah.
can you just give us a quick view of how is your client onboarding process looks like?
Client onboarding is a lot of fun. So founder to founder, I really want people to get that white glove treatment, right? So when we onboard clients, they're always partnered with one singular person, a brand manager at eSpark. We found that when you have like 10 contacts at an agency, it just gets a little bit fractured and you just feel like you're getting peppered with emails. Whereas when you work with a brand manager, one-on-one, they're better. It's easy for them to share what's going on in your account with you versus getting it from 10 different sources. So we partner you one-on-one with the brand manager right away. The brand manager already knows all your goals because during the sales calls that we have or the discovery calls, we're basically taking down all your brand's information. We're doing back-end research on your brand. So once you come on board, we're very ready to just get the ball moving. We come with ideas when you show up. So you get a brand manager that's showing up and saying, hey, let's do this. This is how we're going to grow your account. And that's basic. And we try to keep the onboarding process quick, painless. You have one meeting with your brand manager to kick everything off. They reiterate your goals, and then you have bi-weekly meetings with your brand manager going forward. So you're meeting with them every 2 weeks. And then in your second meeting, you're getting these monthly reports on a regular basis. We utilize my friends over at Merchant Spring, James DeZardo. I love their reporting software. We utilize that in-house and share it with our clients. It's very easy to see, okay, graph's going in the right direction. Whew, no more worries.
Okay. Since we're talking about agency, as a marketer, it is very hard to guarantee results. As we know, there are so many factors that decides the results. So if a client asks that, what can I expect from you? How do you forecast ACOS or TACOS to that client?
Yeah, that's a great question. And like you said, it's very hard to say, hey, I guarantee results. One thing I do tell people is, I think as an agency founder, or even on our sales team, there's definitely some discovery going on. So we're looking to see, hey, is this a brand that we could have success with? Because we don't want to bring a brand on where we don't think we can succeed. So first off, we try to vet brands to see, hey, do they have a unique product? Do they have a moat, something that we can lean on that makes us better than the other competitors on Amazon? So we find brands like that to work with. And then secondarily, in terms of promising results, we'll look at, cost per click, current cost per click in the marketplace for their keywords and kind of back in. You do a little bit of marketing math and sort of back in where we think their TACOS, ACOS might land. And then as you know, when you're growing, right, you're spending more and your ACOS is going to go up. But then you go through a cutting phase where your ACOS goes down and your sales stay up, and then you grow, and then you cut, and then you grow and you cut. So it's never like, hey, we're always going to be at 20% ACOS or 10% TACOS. It fluctuates as you grow the account, but we can definitely give clients a range. So we just do a little marketing math, give you a range, say, hey, we think you're going to be operating within this range advertising wise. And then as far as revenue goes, hey, if we're able to, we look at search volume reports and we're like, hey, if we can, capture a couple of these keywords, we think your sales will go up 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100%, whatever it is. Also, too, depends on how bad their product listings are. My favorite clients are clients with a killer product, unique value prop, and then the worst Amazon listings you've ever seen, right? Because they're the ones that see the best results. You optimize your listings, turn on some advertising, and you double their sales. They're happy, you're happy. It's a win-win. So I usually utilize that for, I'm sorry, I kind of went a little bit on tangent, but it's all about looking for the right people to work with, forecasting their ACOS and TACOS based on cost per click, or at least giving them a range, and then looking at the potential for upside based on how much work you have to do If it's a client like, with terrible listings, great product, 50% sales, no problem. If it's a client that's pretty well established, maybe it's in the 20, 30% range. And then, if that's something they want to shoot for, we hop on board and we go for it.
Okay. Now let's assume you have got a client whose listing is with a lot of keyword stuffing, jumble of keywords. Now, how do you approach that client? How do you tell that, okay, this thing needs to be changed? How do you approach that client?
Yeah, that's always tough. I mean, we have clients that are very, clients on all ends of the spectrum. So we have, big corporate clients where it's like, hey, if you want to say ABC about a particular product, there's multiple people that have to sign off on it. So you have to do a lot of explaining, hey, this is why it's important for your listing to say this, and then sometimes I'll have tweaks, etc. But it's really just about selling them on the value that you're providing. So it's just like, hey, what we've seen with past clients, when we do A, is X result. What we expect is when we apply A to your account, you'll also see X results. So basically just, reassuring them that, hey, we know what we're doing. This is what we've done for clients in the past and it's worked. We're going to do it for you. We expect it to work like this. And then being frank with clients, Amazon's always changing. I just had that conversation with Elizabeth about it. The algorithm's always changing. What has worked in the past might not always work in the future, but what we will do is we will test consistently. So if it doesn't work, we quickly acknowledge, hey, this is not working. We're going to do B instead. And we have a strong logic and reasoning as to why we do B. And so a lot of it, Amazon is known. Hey, we know better images are going to generate better, more sales. That's just very clear. But then there's a lot of tweaks and things that you can make on the narrow end of the spectrum, which is like, hey, if we try this particular product targeting ad on this particular competitor and we pay this particular amount, we think logically we should get this much in sales. And so that's kind of stuff where it's like, hey, we don't know. We're going to test and try. And we're always honest with our clients. Like, hey, we have sound logic here, but we're going to test. With images, copy, keywords, like you said, those it's kind of no. Okay, we know these are bad keywords. We're not going to use these. They don't work. So it's just being honest with your clients, being like, hey, this is a result we've seen before. It's highly likely we'll get it. Or, hey, we're trying to do some cutting edge stuff here. We think this is a result we'll get. If we don't, we'll cut it off quickly and pivot. But I think having those frank conversations with clients is just, they love that.
Okay. Now let's talk about some strategies. So whenever it comes to placement stats, there is a huge mixed feelings between sellers and brands. Some tells that you shouldn't start placement stat, or you shouldn't optimize for placements when it is a new campaign. You should always do that when the campaign is old. Then you can change whether it is top of the search or product page, whatever you want to change based on the results. Now, what is your perspective on this? Do you feel that yes, if a campaign is new, we shouldn't touch the placement stats, or the different thing that when it is old, then after looking at data, we should change? What do you think on it?
That's a really good question, and that's one I'll be frank, being honest about it. I think I don't know the answer there. So what I've seen is what I would do is I would test this. You could do 2 campaigns. So let's say you have one product. You could do, okay, I'm going to do a top of search sponsored product campaign for exact match for this particular keyword. And then I'm going to do a rest of search and product pages placement. Same exact match, same keyword. And then just see how they do compared to each other. And then on a different product, launch a campaign, run it for a while, and then tweak your top of search up, like, I don't know, 200%, like move it all up to top of search, see if it performs better there. We've seen mixed results. I can't say like, hey, do one or do A or do A or do B there. But I would say test it. That's a great place to learn and see, hey, it worked for this product, didn't work for that product. That's a good question. I like that though.
So this is a tricky question. Okay, this is a tricky question, but very interesting question.
Yeah.
What is the strategy? Because Amazon rolled out the audience targeting feature, which is tricky for a lot of sellers because we don't know exactly how to structure it the correct way, because obviously constant testing on audience targeting can bleed the spend. What is the strategy that you're using for display ads audience targeting?
Audience targeting is a good one. So I was actually talking with some of my brand managers about audience targeting the other day. It's like you said, audience targeting has an issue where it can get very expensive very quickly. And there's so many different audiences that you can target. If you tested every single one, you would be spending a lot of money and potentially wasting a lot of money. So what I like to do is for our clients is to keep a sound or a strong fundamental campaign base running. So just have good, strong ads that we know are performing well, that have that nice, 15% ACOS or 12% ACOS, whatever that is, and let that make up the bulk of our advertising. And then each month we'll just test a small portion of audience targeting ads. So we basically have this portion that we're always utilizing for testing and just throwing in our sponsored display ads each month, test a new one, each month, test a new one, each month, test a new one. And then obviously be logical, right? Like target audiences that you think are highly relevant. Don't target a kitchen category if you're selling in sports and outdoors, right? So keep it highly relevant, keep going and testing until you get an audience that works for you. Whether it's the first one or the third one or the fifth one, it's very hard to say until you do it. But what I would say is just, hey, don't spend 90% of your budget in this category. Spend 10% of your budget, roll them off as soon, or basically pause them as soon as you have validated that they're not performing. Maybe after 30, 40 clicks, drop them and then roll a new one in. 30, 40 clicks, drop it, roll a new one in. Okay, it's working. Keep it, add it to our core campaigns, roll a new one in and test an ad like that. That's basically how we do it so it doesn't blow out the budget, because you have a really great point. When you're looking through all these audiences, you're like, nah, shit, man. Some work and some don't. And you don't know until you test.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a really great session with you. I know that you have a very tight schedule today. So I will bring you again in this show and discuss more in detail about Amazon ads later. Now, thank you so much for sharing all the tips and tricks and the strategies. And ladies and gentlemen, we will have Mr. Joshua again in the show. For today, we'll not stretch this session anymore. Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua, for joining with us. And we'll hope we see again in the same show. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, Sammy. I'd be happy to be on again. This was a pleasure.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Joshua, thank you so much. Okay.